Hello YouTube, I'm Zach, you're watching ZakDTV. Thanks for stopping into my show. I like to do this in 4 parts. Something interesting, something fun, something important, and we wrap it up with something dumb. Let's get started. First I want to talk to you about more of the future. And I'll tell you what, it is coming. The first story is something I just found awesome. Not only for its groundbreaking technology, but for the impact this is going to have on our planet and our lives going forward. This is a product named Gita, and the bigger version of it is called Kilo. They're made by Piaggio Group, the same people who make the Vespa. They have a division called Fast Forward. These devices are meant to change the way that we transport items in an urban environment. The Gita means trip in Italian, and it will stand at 26 inches tall and carry up to 40 pounds. The cargo bay in it is big enough to fit 2 bags of groceries. It has bicycle wheels on the outside, and it's drum shaped. The Kilo will be able to carry 250 pounds. Shaped a little bit different, still a really cool idea. Does all the same things the Gita does. What is that, you might ask? Well, they will follow you at up to 22 miles an hour. You can walk, run, skate, bike, whatever. This thing's going to stay with you. It will go 8 hours on a single charge at walking speed. So the faster you go, the less battery life you get. But hey, you're going to get there quicker anyway, right? Like I said, they could follow, or you could send them on pre-programmed trips to different waypoints. Say you wanted to send something to your wife, you send it to her waypoint, it'll drop it off for you. How cool is that? On top of that, there's also a fingerprint lock. And other than waypoints, it can also go out and jump into a caravan, a train of other Gitas and Kilos that are all going in one place. If there's an area that has a lot of deliveries or something, I'm picturing maybe mail service, you're going to the post office, well, they can jump right in with that train and go to the post office with all the rest of them. This is neat, right? It does have a fingerprint scanner to lock it, so no one else can get into this thing without you. It's covered by a 360-degree camera that you can watch while it's on its trip, so you can see if anybody's trying to break into it or mess with it or anything. It detects and avoids obstacles. Obviously, if this is going to work in urban settings, it's going to have to move around people, trees, dogs, all that kind of stuff. And it communicates through its touchscreen and by changing the colors on it. LED lights, of course. Everything has LEDs nowadays. Well, it'll flash them different ways and stuff to communicate. What do you guys think about this one? Is this really going to be the future? They don't have a price point on it yet, but if they want to sell them, they can't be too expensive, I wouldn't think. I would love to replace my backpack with one of these personally. Up next, I have a story that can only happen in Canada. I shit you not. We've had some snow here recently. Canada's had a lot more, obviously. And there's a farmer in Canada who decided the plow trucks just weren't getting the job done fast enough. The road out by his house wasn't plowed, his neighbors were stuck. He thought he'd go take care of it. His answer to this was to go jump on his Zamboni. Yeah, a guy owns a Zamboni. Why wouldn't you, right? He brought it out, and he was cleaning the roads using his Zamboni. The cops saw him, they ended up stopping him, and they sent him home, they followed him home, because Zambonis aren't street legal. Who would have guessed, right? They didn't press any charges, because according to the police sergeant, he saw that the snow hadn't been cleared, and he was trying to clear the snow. I think his intentions were good. I think he was trying to make a difference. In America, you'd be arrested, and your Zamboni would be impounded for something like this. Oh, and by the way, if you're curious, he bought the Zamboni for only $230. That's all the more Zamboni costs in Canada. I guess it's pretty common. That is the most Canadian story I've ever seen. The only way to make it even more Canadian would be add a moose, and I didn't see that happening yet. The next story I want to talk about came to mind because of something that happened to me. As you may or may not know, I live in the Northeast, and we just got slammed by a winter storm. The reason this is so odd is because we got nailed Wednesday night into Thursday with 12 inches of snow. Tuesday, it was 57 degrees out. We went from 57 degrees one day down to 20 the next. It really made me look into climate change. What is going on here? I've seen some odd weather in my life, but I think this is one of the most extreme differences from day-to-day temperature that I've ever seen. On top of that, this winter, we really haven't gotten any snow. Couple storms, but mostly we've been getting rain, and a lot of it too. Now, my father, he's a very smart guy. He doesn't think it's as bad as it sounds. He believes that we're running on cycles. And yes, humans have an impact, but really we're very minuscule compared to the Earth in whole and what our impact on this planet could really be. I mean, especially if you look at it from a geological perspective or something, we're going to be a blip. By the time the human race is done, the Earth is still going to be around. It's not going to notice we're gone. Well, I figured that's where I was going to start. I was going to look into these cycles. First, I want to suggest, though, if you haven't done it yet, watch the video by Hank Green on common myths by anti-climate change people, climate change deniers. He did a really good job of debunking 10 of the biggest myths that these people use. I'll put a link down in the description. It is true when people say that climate change happens in cycles. We have glacier cycles that seem to happen every 100,000, 21,000, and 10,000 years. We also have changes in climate just based on the rotation of the Earth around the sun. Because we aren't in a truly round orbit, we're elliptical, and depending on where we're at in that ellipsis, our orbit will go from a real long orbit to a spread out more wide one. So there are a lot of variations, angle of the Earth, this and that. That all makes a difference. And if you look through history, there have been many huge changes in climate that didn't coincide with these cycles. Times where it got extremely hot or extremely cold. Something they saw during all these dramatic changes, though, shortly before or in the very beginning of, was a major increase in CO2. CO2, if you don't know, is a giant greenhouse gas. We release it when we breathe. It's in the air around us. Our plants feed off of it. It is out there. By raising the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, it traps more heat to the Earth and causes a lot of changes. It's kind of funny to think that a greenhouse effect can actually cause glaciers to form. The reason for this is as the planet gets warmer, water evaporates, causes clouds, which radiates more sunlight back out, and it cools the Earth, allowing glaciers to form. That's something neat I just read today. I'm going to keep going though. And as far as the CO2 numbers go, there is no doubt that we as humans are definitely adding to this. If humans weren't here, there wouldn't be as much CO2 in the atmosphere. No one can argue with that. Now, the changes in the past before humans were around could have been from a myriad of things, including volcanoes, giant forest fires, deforestation for whatever reason, meteor strikes. All sorts of reasons could have brought extra CO2 in. But what they're finding here is since the Industrial Revolution, the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere has risen by 33%. That is a giant spike compared to any other time that we can record. That's including going back through ice cores. That is a very quick spike compared to any other time period as far as we know. And this is increasing the amount of heat trapped in our lower ozone layer. And global temperatures have increased. This is all scientific fact. This cannot be denied. They are basing a 0.87 degrees Celsius rise in temperature. How they got to the figure is kind of odd, but what they did is take all the information from 51 to 80, average it together, and then map every year from there and see how compared to that average, that 30-year average. And compared to that 30-year average, we are 0.87 degrees Celsius higher. Can you skew the facts with that? I believe you can. If you took a different range, you get different figures. So I don't know how they came up with that range, but that's what they did. Now, looking at the charts, there's definitely evidence of a rise in temperature throughout the years. And of course, it's not all straight up. It's not a straight line up. There are some dips where a year will be colder, next year's a little warmer, but the trend is to get warmer and warmer every year. According to NOAA, NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, NPA, we have seen a 2-degree Fahrenheit change over the last century. It's pretty neat. I'll put a link in the description. There is a site where you can go state by state and look up the climate change facts for your personal state. It's a pretty neat application. And after reading some more at NASA's website on climate change, NOAA, a couple other articles, it looks like we really do have some interesting weather to look forward to in the future. It seems that as the planet warms, we'll see major changes in the jet stream. That's the kind of thing that's going to bring more weather like we saw here the other day. Or as ocean temperatures rise, we're going to see a slowing in what they call the oceanic conveyor. This is a system of currents that pulls warm water from the equator and distributes it up around the poles where it cools, drops back down low, and makes its way back to the equator. Think about hot water rises and cold flows back down. Basically the same concept. What this is going to do is cause a more even water temperature, a warmer water temperature, and stronger hurricanes, which we're already seeing some pretty massive ones of those too. With my research today, yes, I do believe there's cycles. That is absolutely proven science. And there's nothing we can do to stop that. It's going to happen. But we are also helping to speed that cycle up. Unfortunately, it seems like our contribution, even if we were to completely stop burning fossil fuels today, has already made a big enough change that this is going to go on regardless. We have fast forwarded this cycle, and we can't hit rewind at this point. We're going to have to live with our recklessness. Now, this doesn't mean we should just go ahead and pollute freely and live life recklessly because we already ruined it. We should set up measures and practices to move forward a little better, show our children how to do this better. But at the same time, we better get prepared for more weather like we saw the other day. There's nothing we can do to stop it. What do you guys think about this? There's a lot more information here, but a lot more than I can cover in a little 10-minute video. So let me know your opinions in the comments. Let's have a discussion about this. And last but not least, we're going to talk about my dummy of the day. Today's guy, it made me laugh when I read this. His name's Jerry Swanson. He's out of Ardmore, Oklahoma. 45 years old, and according to the police report, the local Girl Scouts were selling cookies at the local mall. And that's when Jerry, must have wanted some cookies, wandered on over and offered to trade them vodka for a box of cookies. Yes, these are Girl Scouts. None of them are old enough to drink, but he thought vodka was a good way to pay for his cookies. No one was injured, and when cops arrived, they say that Jerry was so drunk he could barely walk. You gotta be pretty drunk if you're offering vodka to little girls. They didn't find any alcohol on him, but they say he reeked like it. The only thing they were able to charge him with was public intoxication, and at the time of writing the story, he is in county lockup. He's probably sleeping it off, I guess. But for offering the Girl Scouts some vodka, Jerry, you're my dumb of the day. Thanks for being there. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up. If you like my show, go ahead and click subscribe. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. If you do, give me a thumbs up. But if you don't, leave me a comment. Let me know why. Maybe we could change this, make it a little bit better. Any tips or suggestions, they're always welcome as well. You can follow me Facebook, Twitter. Be sure to share. Every little bit will help a growing channel out. And as always, well, tomorrow's Saturday though, and it's my birthday. I won't be putting up a video, but I will be back on Monday. So I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.